and welcome to our podcast on the right to education, which is the second of an 8 series podcast bundle titled Education, a Foundation Series. Everyone has the right to education, as stipulated in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 26, Part 1. Everyone includes parents, children alike, and all other stakeholders in the communities and societies or nations of the world. All have the right to a quality education in accordance with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The right to education is due to everyone by law and by nature, and is protected by the same. Hence, that which is due to everyone, that which is due to every human, to you and me, is our very own responsibility. Your right, your responsibility. Your right to education is foremostly your responsibility, not the responsibility of the government. It is your responsibility to make sure that what you're getting is education. It is the responsibility of the government to protect your rights that you are already responsibly safeguarding. It is not the responsibility of government to give you your fundamental human rights. Fundamental human rights, like the right to education, are subject to forfeiture because these are rights we possess by virtue of our humanity. This cannot be given nor abrogated. If you choose what is not education, if you choose anything substandard to education, you've begun to infringe on your very own right to education. You, not your neighbor or the government, have begun to attract scorn with respect to your very own rights. Hence, rights are parametric to responsibility. For example, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 26, Part 3 says, parents have the prior right to choose the kind of education that shall be given to their children. The prior right to choose at infancy what kind of education, which essentially doesn't include what is not education. Kind will denote category, meaning parents should precautiously choose what kind of industry education will be good for their kids while they are kids to enable time for mastery, genuine development, and efficient mentoring. Kind will not accommodate or vary between good and bad. Rights are codified by responsibility. The wrong kind of education is not education. When we choose a popular culture of substandard education, when we consider a deviation from the outclass so-called traditional general academic education as infradig, when we choose to embellish or confer dignity or honor upon the outclassed, or that which is decisively surpassed by something else greater, such as academia over industry, theoretic over occupational learning, then we have relinquished the function of education. When parents choose what isn't education, they have also forfeited the denouement or outcome of education. There are no freedoms, economic or financial, without rights, and there are no rights without responsibilities. The more irresponsible we are, the further away we are from upholding the dividends of our very own rights, such as the right to education. If rights are defined by a responsibility coefficient, then it is the responsibility of parents or adults to understand the proper definition of education. It is the responsibility of parents or adults to choose what is education, to choose quality education as specified in Sustainable Development Goal number 4, to apprehend the trending industry practices in the society to enable responsible educational choices. By failing to stay updated about the nitty gritty aspects of the era, our industry trends, parents and education benefactors, including supposed educational institutions, have already invoked protocols that undermine the right to education. When we choose to undermine the right to education, we inevitably mutilate our role. Thank you for listening to this podcast on the right to education. In our next podcast, we will discuss the role of education